Hi everybody, I am Ingi and today I'm going to talk about Two of Wands, one of the cards that make people maybe a bit puzzled maybe. What does it mean? It's a man, he's up high, he holds the globe in his hand and a wand. And in the Rider-Waite, it looks like he stands between two choices almost, like he's chosen one path over another. Maybe he even had to change his mind. It can mean that he had to make an intuitive decision. One idea, has proven itself better than the other. It will take him further into the world. Perhaps it will even give him a better standing in the world. Maybe he's learned something and he has new understanding, and he can enter into the world in a way that will give him status and a high place, a high standing. It's a very intellectual card, even though it is wands, not swords. It's still desiring knowledge and knowing how the world works. He can speak of being involved in politics and in governance because he's holding the world in the palm of his hand, as if he has some kind of ownership over the world. So this card, when it's upright, it really speaks of you finding that place that is yours in the world, where you understand this is how the world works, at least where you are, where you have a place, where you fit in, where you have a standing, a good standing, and you have a good position in the world. You get to make decisions that has impact on how you live and maybe even how other people live as well. And often when this card shows up, you are in a situation like that where you have a lot of say in how things are done. You might even be in a very high position of governance, and it can mean that you are on a path to take you to a situation like this in your life. And sometimes this card will show up when perhaps you don't know how to make those decisions that will take you there. Maybe you don't know how to move forward and you're a bit stagnated. So if this card is showing up for you, there is an answer that's very obvious to you, but perhaps you've been avoiding it. And the most obvious answer is the intuitive answer. It's the right answer. And maybe you're distracting yourself because you just don't want to admit something to yourself, or you don't want to have to make a decision. In a love reading, this card speaks of finding love that will empower you. It can mean that you will have to go out in the world and show yourself to the world. Maybe you've been hiding away. Maybe you have to do something you don't really want to do. For example, if you don't want to do online dating, but then it's going to be what brings you love. So you just have to kind of get past maybe that block of don't want to try something. Maybe you have to go on a few dates. Maybe you don't like dating, but then how are you going to meet people if you don't put yourself out there? Two of Wands telling you that you have to also put yourself out there. It's not going to come to you without you showing your face to the world. You have to at least let people know that you exist. Two of Wands can mean that you've been hiding away a little bit too much, and everything out there in the world is right there for you. You just have to go out there and it's there for you to have. And Two of Wands also speak of a relationship that is deep and that you experience a stronger connection than what you maybe are used to in previous relationships. Also, if you're in a long-term relationship, then Two of Wands asks you to go deeper within the relationship because there's more for you in this relationship. Maybe you need to travel a bit more together, do more things together. Maybe you're a bit stuck in a rut where you're just at home with each other all the time. Two of Wands mean that you need to also go out and have new experiences that will make you closer. It will help you grow a stronger bond. In a career reading, Two of Wands speaks of jobs that are often quite well paid. They're leadership jobs. They're intellectual work often. It means that you get to make the decisions, the day-to-day decisions. And maybe also there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and maybe you're a bit scared of making a mistake. Because with 2 of Wands, you really have to be accountable. It's not like you can't hide behind someone and say it was them. Like with 2 of Wands, it's like, no, you have to take ownership. So if you're very afraid of making a mistake, then 2 of Wands can show up maybe reversed in your reading. Maybe you just 2 of Wands is like a situation you want to avoid because you don't want to ever have to fail. But 2 of Wands is there to remind you, for you to have all the things that you want, all your successes. Failure can be powerful stepping stones, and don't be so afraid of mistakes because you learn from them and they're actually what will make you successful. 2 of Wands in a yes or no question is often a yes, but you might have to make some changes to your plans, especially your initial plans, because this idea will grow. In my symbolism, I had 2 dragons fighting over what idea is better. The Wands signifies ideas, but they actually come together and make a bridge. So both ideas can work together in some way. You might just have to fight over what to keep and what to forsake on both sides. It turns into a bridge instead. As feelings, 2 of Wands speaks of being curious, wanting to learn and explore, and often also learn new languages, because learning a new language will open up the world to you in a way. You might want to learn about another culture and live in another culture. You might want to try something completely different from what you are used to. If you're asking about how someone is feeling about you, it often means that someone is very curious about you and they want to learn about you and what it's like for you, especially if you're culturally different or if you speak another language. They just want to learn what it's like to see the world from your eyes, from your perspective, and they are curious. They want to know you intellectually because they feel that you are waking up something in them that has died off, like something they need to see something from a completely different perspective, and you're giving them that perspective, and then that's how they're actually coming back to life again. 2 of Wands as a personality is someone who is often a visionary. This is someone who especially likes to look at the future and what can be done to make the future different. They often have very creative ideas about how to change things that are fundamentally wrong, about how we're doing things. And they want to conquer those big issues, and that's often their dream as well. So they want to fulfill themselves, but they also want to change the world at the same time. So they take charge, and they're often very confident, they're courageous, they don't shy away from conflict if they have to have one, then they're willing to have it because they believe in what they're doing. They're competitive, they want to get themselves to a position of empowerment. They don't want to come at anything from a position of weakness. And they believe that strength makes them proud, and lack of strength gives them shame. And they want to come at, or they want to view the whole world and everything in it and all the opportunities that are lining up for them from a position of being proud and strong. And this is how they also get their way as well, and how they can convince so many people also to follow them on their path as well. People usually take to them instantly. These are people who you want to believe in. They make people believe in them. 2 of Wands, when it is reversed, it means that it's very difficult in making decisions. It can be due to fear of making the wrong choice. So then it just becomes a lack of willpower, a weak will, being easily led. So instead of leading, you're being led. Instead of convincing, you're kind of pushing people away. Instead of having convictions, you have just doubt. You have shame rather than proudness. And so when it's a personality reversed, then like 2 of Wands reversed, then it's just someone who rush to things rather than plan and kind of build up the foundation. And then they end up second guessing themselves, even when it's a good idea. They second guess good ideas, and then they become grumpy and moody, and they need things to kind of empower them so that they can feel a little bit better. But It's very hard for them when it's reversed to control temper and impulses. It seems to just be a bit of a roller coaster, and often it leaves them exhausted, and in the end nothing really gets done. So they end up kind of in the initial stages or in the beginning stages of projects, but it doesn't really take on or take off. And they don't trust in their own decisions. So if you ask them what they want, they might tell you what they think you want to hear from them, but not really what they want. So their ideas, they don't believe in their own ideas. They're looking for other people's ideas that they can believe in. Their own ideas often live and die in their heads. Let's have a look what the runes think of Two of Wands. Okay, so Two of Wands. I'm getting Otala. So Otala, it was the only rune that showed face up, and it came quite high up in the layout. And I feel like it means that you have, what the runes are saying, that Two of Wands mean is that when it shows up in your reading, you have already found your place in the world in some way. So it's not so much going out in the world and finding your place. In most cases, you already are there. You already have found your place. So to look at where you are at it has much stronger foundation in your life than you realize. And maybe you know that this is where you belong. Maybe you feel like you belong somewhere else. But it's certainly where you are at now as well is incredibly important to your life. So where you're at, location-wise, has a strong influence on your destiny. So that is a very simple way of looking at Two of Wands, but sometimes that's all you need to know, is that where you're at now is where you're meant to be. If you get it reversed, then you're in maybe the wrong place, or you need to move. But for a lot of you, when it's Two of Wands, it is at its best, when it shows up just in full strength, not reversed or in obstacle or in conflict or anything like that. It means you already are where you're meant to be. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'm going to start with Three of Wands. Bye!